The rain was coming down in heavy sheets that night, turning the streets into rivers and blurring the city lights into pale reflections on the pavement. After finishing a long shift at the restaurant, the single father stepped outside, exhausted, but eager to get home to his daughter. Years of balancing double shifts, school meetings, and lonely dinners had taught him to keep his head down and his heart guarded. Life had already tested him enough. As he walked toward the bus stop, he noticed a young woman standing under a flickering streetlight, completely drenched. Her clothes clung to her frame, her hair plastered to her face, and her eyes carried a fear that went deeper than the storm around her. People hurried past without looking, too busy or too cautious to get involved. He hesitated. He had responsibilities, a child waiting at home, and very little to spare. Still, something about her helplessness stopped him. He offered her his jacket and asked if she was okay. His voice was calm, steady, the kind that comes from someone used to putting others first. The woman barely spoke, her hands shaking as she accepted the warmth. Sensing her fear, he didn't push for answers. Instead, he helped her find shelter from the rain, sharing what little comfort he could, kind words, reassurance, and the quiet presence of someone who expected nothing in return. To him, it felt like nothing more than a decent thing to do. He walked away soaked, cold, and tired, unaware that this brief encounter would ripple far beyond that stormy night. In a world that often rushes past pain, his simple act of kindness became the first step in a story that would soon return to change his life in ways he could never have imagined. By the next morning, the storm had passed, but the memory of the young woman lingered in the single father's mind. He expected to see her again at the bus stop, on the same street, or even by chance near the restaurant. Yet days went by, and she never appeared. It was as if she had vanished into the rain, leaving behind only unanswered questions and a quiet sense of unease. There had been something unusual about her that night. She thanked him softly, her voice trembling, but avoided sharing her name or where she was going. Her eyes kept scanning the street, as though she feared being followed. Even while accepting his help, she maintained a careful distance, carrying herself with the caution of someone who had learned not to trust easily. He sensed she was running from something, or perhaps someone, but chose not to pry. Sometimes kindness, he believed, meant respecting silence. At home, his daughter noticed the damp jacket drying by the door and asked about it. He brushed off the story, calling it nothing special. Still, both of them felt the lingering mystery. Who was the woman? Why had she been alone in such terrible weather? And what kind of life left a young person so frightened yet so composed? Unbeknownst to them, the woman carried a story far heavier than it appeared. Behind her quiet gratitude lay secrets shaped by danger, pressure, and a world the single father had never been part of. Her disappearance was not coincidence, it was necessity. She had stepped back into a life filled with cameras, power, and consequences, a life that would soon resurface in the most unexpected way. Though she was gone, her presence remained like an unfinished chapter. And soon, fate would reopen that chapter, revealing that the stranger from the rain was connected to a reality far greater than anything the father and his daughter could have imagined. Days passed after that stormy night, and life slowly returned to its usual rhythm for the single father and his daughter. The father continued his long shifts at the restaurant, his hands callous from work and his mind preoccupied with bills, groceries, and school schedules. Meanwhile, his daughter tried to shake off the memory of the mysterious woman, though she couldn't quite forget the sadness and fear she had seen in her eyes. It lingered in her thoughts like a shadow she couldn't fully understand. One evening, while the two of them were sitting together in their small living room, the daughter switched on the television to catch a news segment. What started as routine entertainment turned into a moment that would change everything. The camera focused on a young woman standing confidently in a studio, elegantly dressed, her hair and demeanor polished, yet unmistakably the same girl who had shivered in the rain just days before. The daughter froze, her hand gripping the arm of the couch. "Dad, it's her," she whispered, her voice trembling. The father looked up, following her gaze, and his heart skipped a beat. The woman on the screen, someone he had helped without a second thought, was now revealed as a rising star, an accomplished individual whose story had captured the attention of the nation. In that instant, the fleeting act of kindness he had offered seemed monumental. A simple gesture, an unguarded moment of empathy, had connected their lives in ways he could never have imagined. The woman's smile, calm yet knowing, carried a silent acknowledgement of that night in the rain, a reminder that small acts of compassion could have far-reaching consequences. The father and daughter sat in stunned silence, realizing that fate had a way of weaving stories together in the most unexpected ways. That rainy night, a simple decision to help someone in need had not only changed another person's path, but had also intertwined their lives forever, proving that even ordinary acts of kindness can spark extraordinary destinies.